Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 17 edition of Team List Twist and Origin Preview. I'm your host, Ross. Tonight I'm joined by our lovely Brad from off the bench. Welcome, Brad.
Evening, lads. Evening, all our super coaches.
And how was your round this week, Brad? You're slowly working your way up that later?
Yeah, I got a 1,090, so probably about a par score, I think. About 1,100 was probably par, but yeah, so it wasn't too bad. I wasn't too upset. Most of my planning sort of panned out. I had Nico as captain, so I stuck it in there. I was tempted to go with the vice captain, but I didn't, so I'm glad I didn't in the end. It sort of paid off. Up to 1,600 and something, so yeah, just hanging in around.
Nice. And lastly, we've got Billy. Billy, for those who don't know, Billy does some podcasts with Mark Buns on the All Stars podcast. If you haven't listened to that one yet, get in there and have a listen to it. It's a great podcast. Mark does it with Billy, also does it with Purcell as well, and a couple of other guys, and it's a really good listen. So welcome to the show, Billy.
I wouldn't listen to it this week. I'm not on it. Jump ship. Great, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. How was your round this week, Billy?
Absolutely horrid. I'm too scared to look, mate. Months and months and months of bike planning, only to have 14 players go down to, I think it was 11. And I opted not to go with Gutho. Kind of figured Moses out. Do I sell Turbo or do I keep him? Sell Turbo, keep him. No, fuck it. I'll keep Turbo. Moses. Gutho won't go too well kicking goals without Moses. See you later. I haven't looked yet. I don't know what I dropped, but I ended up. I think I only scored about 850 or something or other. So from massive plummet from 1,000, probably down about 5 or 6 right now. I think so. Not looking. I'll wait and see.
Fair enough. I think I got a 954, which got me up about 700 spots, but that's not hard when you're sitting back in 7,000. But I'm pretty happy with my team down at the moment, anyways. I think I've already got about 15 players for round 19 as well, so pretty good spot to be in already. But anyway, we'll move on. So first game of the round is the Dragons and the Warriors. So for the Dragons, they get a couple of big ins. Jack Bird's back, and also Jack DeBellin's back. And for the Warriors, Dylan Morgan comes in for Mitch Barnett on the bench as a straight top who's out suspended. Guys, do we like anyone at all from these two games as possible trade in for this weekend? SJ, I think obviously SJ is obviously the main one.
There's a couple for me. I mean, some of our regular listeners and some of the people that read some of the articles I put up will see this week. I put up a big rant about SJ. I got laughed and lambasted by a few people for what my thoughts were, but it boiled down to the fact that personally, I still have Cleary as to a very high percentage. I think it's over 25% of people in the top 1,000 have still got Cleary, and we've got to make a decision about what we're going to do, and I just haven't traded him yet because I wasn't really sure if there was a better option. And I was a bit nervous about going to Moses, which gladly I didn't. Now, SJ, he's averaging, I think he's got a 5-round average of 86. Cleary for the year is only averaging 85. And my big argument was, if you have a look, particularly the head-to-head players, Penrith come home with an absolutely disgusting run. It's not disgusting. It's not flash, but dead set. The Warriors for head-to-head players, they've been kissed on the dick. They got Manly in the penultimate game of the head-to-head, and in the absolute grand final, if you make it that far, well, you got Warriors versus the Dragons. And for people that are playing head-to-head, I reckon that's enough. If you got a bit of cash riding on it, and in a few cashies, man, SJ looks like there's a lot of argument to go SJ over Cleary, particularly given those figures. His average 5-round average is above Cleary's for the year anyway. Nico's, a fair way above those two. Nico's, I think, in the 90s somewhere as an average, so neither of those two are near him. So anyway, that's my thoughts there. Yeah.
I just want to say well done to those who've held on to CNK as well, because he's certainly gone under the radar, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Who
he
went under the
has.
radar?
Yeah.
What's that, Billy?
Who'd you say went under the radar?
Charles Nicoll-Costa, under the radar, like, for how well he's gone this year.
Oh, I don't think he went under the radar. He was just more of a. He just seemed to step up and just have a crack. Like it's. I don't think. Look, all props to if you picked him up, but in my opinion, he was more of that look. Best of a bunch around that was going to score some points. You can't go and pick a bloke like sort of Blake Laurie and go, look, he's gone under the radar. He's averaging 80. Like if a bloke like that scores big, you don't see that sort of five game rolling average coming. It has potential, but particularly in the fullback position. But he's not gonna break open yet for the rest of the season. He's probably a sell as soon as possible.
Yeah. Anyone else you like from this game, Billy, at all? Trading or anything?
Oh, not really. I mean, I do like DeBell as one of the premier sort of front row forward options, purely because Haas is obviously the number one. You've got what's his name? Fanua Blake's been absolutely crushing it, but he's been going over for line break try all the time. So you probably want to find someone in that sort of Tino, DeBell, and Adam Fanua type mold for the second front row position on the way home if you don't have a Tarpany or something like that. Although his minutes are probably going to increase. So yeah, I don't mind the DeBell as a front row option, but apart from that. Yeah. It's nothing really going to sort of step up unless it's Lamex pulls his finger out of his ass.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on. Well,
yeah. I was only going to make a point. I can't go anyone, say, from a St George, only because they don't play 19, and none of them shape as an absolute keeper. So it's not like you're buying them to keep them for the rest of the year. And if they don't play 19, well, it's shit. Useless.
Yeah, purely apart from the round 19 component, DeBell and I would, particularly playing bigger minutes. 65, 70 minutes at sort of 13 available in the front row. That's the only sort of proposition there.
Oh, absolutely. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right, next game is the Dolphins versus the Eels. So JMK's been named, which is great for myself, who still has him. Couple interesting ones here is T. Farray comes into the centres, and Braden McGrady makes his debut on the wing. Billy, you're from up the Queensland way. Do you know much about this guy at all?
Mate, if it wasn't for Wayne Bennett, I wouldn't be watching any Dolphin games at all. I never heard of him. Who's he replacing? What's
Robert Jennings has been dropped and Brinko Lee's injured. So that's who those two are replacing.
Yeah, Tafaro is coming in for Brinko.
Yeah.
So, but given his form, surely all he's got to do is sort of have a half decent go, and he'll probably sort of stick around, particularly because Lee's defense is shithouse. But if the other bloke's been dropped, he's probably a watch and see downgrade the next couple of weeks for that last kind of game, particularly for someone like what's his name?
Billy Smith. Billy Smith.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Trade up for him.
Well, especially the fact he plays round 19, and that'll be his third game, obviously providing he stays in the team. Brad and I spoke about this earlier, so he could be a really good downgrade option for that round 19 buy as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the job security thing in round 1 or 2. Like the way Smith's been playing, you want to get rid of him now just so you can use the cash elsewhere. But it's a bit of a risk just pumping a guy in now when there's trades are starting to get thin.
I was pretty happy. I punted him 2 weeks ago when he didn't play that game. I traded him to Nick Meaney, so he hasn't been going great, but at least he's scoring okay. But I think he'll reward me for that selection, I think, somehow. So
Meaney will stick around for a while, because even the news the other day was that when they said, Pappy's coming back, that was, look, Pappy's coming back into reserve rate in 4 weeks. So you wouldn't expect him until at least final times. There's no concern there.
That's it. And for the Eels, Sean Lane's been named on the extended bench, so he could make his way back in. And obviously Mitch Moses has been named, so Maddo goes back to the interchange bench for this one. Boys, would like anyone for the Eels at all as a trade-in? Obviously, they cover the next buy, but they also have a buy coming up as well.
Yeah, most people have Hopgood already. I'm on the fence as to whether he'd be a trade back in or not. Not probably less so with Lane sort of coming back and Maddo being the big minute sort of interchange. I'd probably watch Maddo another week and see how he goes. I think he's got a half decent kind of break even, so you can pick him up after just for that next round if he's getting sort of 55, 60 minutes off the bench, because he's an impact player. But the caveat there is they've got the Dolphins this week, so anyone can put up a score. So do you wait or not is the question.
Yeah. Bailey Simmonson's another one that's been flying under the radar too, boys. I mentioned him on the pod last week. Is a possible option, but you guys think he's an option still, or do we think he's getting a bit pricey now?
Brad White in here first.
Yeah, trades are too thin for me to consider such a. Yeah, no.
Anyone else you like, Brad? Anyone else you like for this game?
Well, I've got a few Parramatta players already, but there's nobody that looms as a trading target. The only ones I like are the ones you probably should have got about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. There's no one just jumping out. No, Hands, if you're lucky enough, we spoke about that last week. He's still got a few price rises in him, and from what I understand, Hodjo's at least 2 weeks away. So but you'd have to be really flush with trades to be considering such a thing like that.
Yeah.
I'm bringing in Gutho this week. I opted to go a different combo last weck so I could get more out of the maximum combo of 3 players. So unfortunately, I chose Palmer. wasn't the worst, but I'd be concerned about not owning Moses or Gutho this week, particularly against this team.
All right, next game is the Panthers and the Knights. Obviously, those with Zach Hoskins, time to move him on. He's been dropped to New South Wales Cup this week. And for the Knights, Greg Marzu's back in the team, providing he doesn't miss the Buster Penrith this week.
He's missed round 16.
He missed the all-important bye round that everyone was holding him for. How frustrating!
One job.
That was the only good thing about not owning Marzu was the fact that he didn't play round 16. You boys like any players from either of these teams? I tell you what, Dane Gagai has been flying under the radar this year, hasn't he?
I'd like to see what's his actual 5-game rolling average. Like, I know he didn't really sort of come out of the blocks on the fire, but what's he done lately?
Well, he pumped out an 80 on the weekend. He has a 5-round average of, I'll pull it up right now. He's a 5-round average of 66. It's not that great. He's averaging 71 for the year, and priced at 636K.
Not too shabby. Although this kind of time of year at that sort of price, most people have got at least a 4 cent and 3/4 already, or at least like your Manu, Garrick, Marzu sort of types in there with someone else. So if you're gonna go guy, you really want to hope he either A, maintains form, or B, has a soft run, because it's hard to bring a fifth play 5 cent and 3/4. It's more of a pick and choose your matchups this time of year, isn't it?
Yeah, well, round 18 he's got the Bulldogs. Round 20 he's got the Tigers. Then he goes to Melbourne, Canberra, Dolphins, and back to the Bulldogs again. So it's not the worst for all.
Hadn't even thought about it. Might be worth it. 600, eh?
630, yeah. What's your thoughts on him, Brad?
Just not. Yeah, there's just so many options coming up, and again, like I said before, he's not round 19 relevant. And when no one can plan that exceptionally well. And if we bring in somebody for 800,000 nearly, not being 19 relevant, that just makes it hard. Don't be sucked in by Dylan Lucas. People are looking at a cheapy option. Don't forget you've got the likes of Lachlan Fitzgibbon yet to pop straight back into that team, so he's not another one that's not unless you're looking for enough. You need a number this week and turn him into enough in the following weeks. But the problem with that, he's probably going to fill a bench spot, and then you've got an AE nightmare on your hands. So if you're looking for enough, you're probably better off looking in the back three-quarter section into your centres or wingers than a second rower.
Yeah,
Alright.
the other thing there is probably just quickly on that point you made is Gogo plays the other side to Mazu. So for most people that own Mazu, if you get Gogo, you're going to be screaming go left, go right, and you're going to need at least 2 tries either side to make either worth it. So probably best not to put all eggs in one basket.
All right, next game is Manly and the Storm. So Christian Walsh is back from his 1-game suspension, and Big Nash goes to the Edge. All their Origin representatives are named to back up Munster, Coates, and Harry Grant. And for Manly, it's looking like Turbo will be rested after being named on the extended bench. Anyone got any thoughts on any trading options for this game at all?
Well, I'm trading out Welsh after not turning up last week, you prick. 3 minutes, all you need to last.
Yeah, I've probably got more thoughts about trade outs than trade ins. I mean, yeah, just about all Manly players should be looking like they're on the chopping block. Schuster, well, geez, but there's nothing we can really say there. Okalatu, God, without DCE there, he's just getting no quality ball. DCE sometimes feeds him a nice short pass and that sort of thing, but at the moment the poor bugger's just not getting much. Paseka's probably the one shining light in the front row, believe it or not. He's just been steady for his price. And unfortunately, Weeks keeps getting fucking picked at fullback. Can somebody please tell
Stop it.
For Christ's sake, put Garrick back there. Give us all a bit of a break. I don't know.
I don't mind Garrick at centre, just not when Weeks is fullback.
Yeah, of course. Mate, I've still got Garrick, and I'm sure we all do, but I'm really worried about how he's going to score this week against Melbourne in Melbourne with no bloody Turbo in the team. I've got a feeling he's going to easily pump out another 20 again this weekend.
You know, the one I'm most excited about watching this week is Nass on an edge.
Yes,
mate. You remember? Do you remember watching him the last 4 or 5 games last year? He played either start in the middle or interchange in the middle, and all of a sudden, the last 15 minutes, he'd go to the right hand edge, and he was absolutely steaming towards that line against little edge rowers and centres. It was brilliant to watch.
I'd love to see him get on one of them with KO Weeks. Good luck stopping him.
Yeah, I'd love to see what the anytime try score for him is this week. I'm sure they've adjusted it somewhat, but it's like if it's anything around the sort of 450 mark at any time, surely it's a no-brainer.
Well, we have to. We should have opened up with this with the show with this, but we have to have honorable mention to Alex Wow for finally scoring his first try in 100 whatever many games it was. He was paying $16 for any time try as well. So well done for those who've got on. But Alex, well done. I know you don't watch this, but I was so happy for you on the weekend. It was a great weekend. You got your first try. The Dwalt car got up in the supercars on Saturday. It was a really good weekend. So shout out to Alex for that. Well done.
Very good. No, it was good to see. It's very rare to see a bench front rower. How good is he going for a bench front rower? He's got to be the best performed bench front rower running around. And every week I watch him, he's actually trying harder than Clemmer or anybody else in the middle forwards for that team.
He made 40 or 50 tackles on the weekend as well, and that was not even playing 80 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a solid effort.
Yeah. Certainly racks the numbers up off the bench, but I'd have to say that Spencer Linio is one of the hardest hitting interchange fellas I've seen.
Yeah.
All right, next game is the Broncos versus the Titans, so it's a local derby, I guess, in a way. Kurt Capel's out until round 20. Bakura gets his chance in the side. Cobbo is set to play, apparently, and all the Origin players are set to back up. And for the Titans, Foran's back at 5'8" after his injury. Campbell goes back to the bench for Feeder's name to play, but let's see how many minutes he actually plays after backing up from Origin. And all their Origin players have been named to back up. Do you guys like anyone in this game as a trade-in? Because I have got Reece Walsh absolutely lined up to bring in for this game. and the expensive bowler. It was going to be Turbo, but now that we don't know what's
Really?
happening with him, I'm pretty keen on Walsh for this game.
Yeah, that fullback spot is hard to fill with everyone. You want a Reese?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty keen on him. I really am. I mean, I was keen on Turbo with a break even of -43, as well, and they've probably got the better run home. And if Turbo does get it, probably does play, I'll probably go him instead. If not, I may end up opting and go for Walsh instead. You guys don't like him? Don't like him?
Mate, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you know what Brimson's average was in the last 10 games last year when he got
I
a
know
soft run?
it was over 80 or something, wasn't it? Or over 90, wasn't it?
Around about that, and he's got no more buys
Mm.
and a softish kind of run. I'd be taking him over Walshy. Does rely on clutch, but so does Walshy. He's got fuck all base.
He has the only thing with bloody AJ, he has an injury too, unfortunately, as well.
Yeah. Oh, look, mate. That fullback spot, it'd have to be sort of with the run home. Gutho would be right up there. Trebojevic has that massive negative break even, but at the same time, the next two games are against the top couple teams in the comp. Then the buy around possibly gets rested again. So you could take a little hit on the price, knowing he's not going to score 100 this week. So you could go your Walshy, but you've got to be really astute with who you pick in that second position because fullbacks are the points.
Yeah, well, at one stage it wasn't looking like I was going to hang on to Gutho just until round 20 after the buys, but now the way he's going, I don't think there's any way I can trade him out.
Oh, he kicked last week too, but you take that away, he goes back to his sort of 70s. Like he did have a big one the week before, but you go look at all his scores for the last 3 years. Like how much, it's purely the draw that's the appeal. I can't see him going on a massive run.
Yeah. What about you,
Well,
Brad?
just out of interest, he's it was a good a point there, Bill. His last 5 games last year for Brimo was 67, 111, 82, 139, and 90.
Boom.
Just doing a quick maths in my head, that's over an average of 100. Well, very close to 100, but I'm just doing that really quickly. For the last 5 games last year, he's cost 524. That's the other big juicy character to think about. Roscoe, have a think of that one. 524.
Yeah, it's a lot. I could bank a lot of cash by doing that. That can give me 2 premium upgrades next week as well.
He's got a decent break even this week, so he's an easy watch.
Well, 57. So, but he should be able to easily do that from the back, eh?
The only
He
thing I
scores a
don't,
ton. He won't hurt.
Yeah.
the only thing I don't like is his draw from round 23. You've got Warriors, Sharks, Panthers, and Melbourne.
Well, don't fucking play him then. Be in first place and sell the prick.
Oh dear. What about you, Brad? You're not too keen on Walsh?
Not at the moment, but I'm different. It's very hard asking me such weird and wonderful questions because I have a plan and I've got to stick to that plan. And I've done my buy planning, so obviously I got Gutho probably about 10 weeks ago now, for one particular purpose. Now the minute round 20 comes, Gutho gets sold, and Walsh might be a good time to ask me then if that's when if I want Walsh. But I bought Drinky and Gutho a long, long time ago for the specific purpose of getting me through this period. So I'm probably not the best one to really ask on that. Okay, because as I said, I had a plan there. The one I will mention in that game is Aaron Shoop. Aaron Shoop's about 385, I think, and that's only just off the top of my head. It might have been cheaper than that. And from all reports, from some of the inside word up there is that the coach loves him. Hence why he keeps on getting selected, moves around, and he doesn't seem to be missing too many games of late. So Aaron Shoop, if you're at that price, he's a direct swap for Billy Smith, and I think you're going to get a lot more out of Shoopy. I think he's on the same side as David Fafita as well. So he's a centre next to Big Dave. Yeah, might be something to think about. I'll just throw it out there as a thought. I'm not doing it myself, but
Yeah. I got Big Sammy. I bought him a while back as a pod. I love his hit up with his tackle bus, same size as for feeder. But yeah, mate, I know you might have bought Drinky as your salvation for your run home, but I bought rum. That's going to get me through the next few weeks because I need another pain.
Oh no, Drinky gets sold real soon. Don't worry about that. That was always the plan. He just gets me through this period, and it's I can't knock it because he's got a few hundreds under his belt, and
He certainly does the job, mate. He pops up out of nowhere, 30 points, 60 points, 80 points, done. Reminds me of Walsh. That's why I can't play Walshy. He drives me insane. I didn't start with him. He had a decent run. I thought this is driving me insane. Then I'd have Latrell score 102. I'm like, there, take that Walshy, and then Walshy's on 7 points and finishes on 102 as well. Like, fuck me, there. Piss off, you prick. Get out of here, you asshole.
I remember that game. Like, I was playing against some opponents at only. I'm like, yeah, he's only on 7.5 time, you beauty. And then I went back and checked, and he'd go over 100. He's just that sort of bloke like Latrell that can just do from nothing to a massive score just from a couple of plays, basically. So
yeah, the new SJ, the roller coaster. But that's what you get with fullbacks, mate. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But that's why it's frustrating, having a like Mano in the halves. Like he ends up on 60 or 65, and you're like, all right, so hold on, full time, no tries, no line breaks. Like, good. And you've got like 600, 650k invested in him, and someone else has someone 300k, scores 2 tries, a couple of line breaks. Like Warbrick, what did he finish on? 65. It's like, just do something. You've got to mix the base with the clutch.
All right, we'll move on to the next game, which is the South versus the Cowboys. So for South, Latrell's still out, but they get Cody back in the team. Tom Burgess comes back in as well. David Miley played his first grade since round 9 as well. And all their Origin players have been named to back up. Now, with the Cowboys, they're playing silly buggers because they've named all their Origin players on an extended bench. Now, I don't know about you guys, whether you guys have watched his game last week, but Talamalo was back in his beast mode last week, boys.
Yeah, I don't think it equated to just as many points, but I saw the run.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching him. He certainly pricked up my attention at fractional. That's about it though. Again, he's not really relevant in as far as what 19 is concerned. So, but he is reasonably cheap for what he offers. With Lukey is now out for the next 3 or so weeks, I believe. So with Lukey out, that means that you'd think JT will get an extended. He won't get pushed back to the bench anytime soon.
Yep.
What do you think in there? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin Matungi would be the bigger interest, as with kind of Graham and probably to a lesser extent AJ. AJ just needs that clutch, but at least he's got Walker back. But does anyone know what the health status of Walker is? I know he had was it a hamstring twinge or a knee? Is he 100%?
It was a quad strain, apparently.
Quad strain?
Yeah.
That sounds better than a hammy. Hammy fucked, but quad doesn't sound as bad.
Yeah, I like Colin Matungi for this one. Obviously, Cody is another option too. They've got an okay draw coming up, especially round 19 for their bye as well, because I think they've got the Dragons or something for the round 19 bye. So you probably want to be owning him for that one, I reckon. Anyone else that you guys like? Anyone from the Cowboys that you guys like? It was a bit hard with all the Origin players being named on the bench.
Yeah, that plus the bye. No, nothing at all.
Yeah.
For South Sydney there, you've got Richie Kenner that looms as another, if you're looking for a Billy Smith downgrade, 250 he's got a negative 24 break even, so you got a couple of weeks worth of price rises in him. Not the price should really be too much of a factor at this time of year. You should be more looking at either nuffs or keepers. However, it does generate a little bit of cash for you. He's 2 games that he has had so far this year. He's still at his starting price. his 2 games have been 45 and 1 in the 50s, so it's been steady. But mind you, I think both those games he's got a try. That tells me that his base isn't all that flat.
Yeah.
So be prepared to only play him on a matchup if you do have him. Any thoughts on him?
The only caveat there is he's on the right side, and we all know what the Chooks are like, mate. They constantly go left. Even when you had people like Tom Milne there and Jackson Paulo, those guys had career averages in the 30s purely because the Rabbits just can't go right. So you're right. He probably, best case scenario, he's a cash out and a bum on a seat for the round, but you're going to be doing it for what? Playing in one game.
Yeah, game here and there. He's not going to get too many looks in your team. But, yeah, he could be an AE nightmare. But when Latrell does come back, Taff will piss off back to New South Wales Cup, and he won't take Taff won't take Kennard's spot. So I think Kennard's looking pretty safe at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's his spot to lose, especially with Thompson out injured too.
Yeah,
and he was out of favour. He was all out of favour anyway because he's been dropped back to New South Wales Cup anyway. So yeah, could do a lot worse, I reckon. So, all right, last game is the Roosters and the Raiders. For the Roosters, Kiri was cleared of his jaw fracture, so he's been named to play. Joey Manu shifts back to centres to accommodate Teddy back to fullback, and Allen drops out, and Sandor Smith stays in the halves. Victor Radley's back from suspension. Lindsay Collins has been named to back up as well. While for the Raiders, they're coming off a bye, but run the same 17 from round 15. Boys, obviously, you'd probably keep Manu for this week, obviously. But I don't own him. You guys think he's probably a sell after this round, potentially?
Not for me. I'm going to keep him. He's been scoring absolutely fuck all and still sort of getting 50, 55 in base. So going back to the centre isn't going to be a concern because he's a ball hog anyway. He'll come looking for it. So he'll come good. How good? No idea. There's the added bonus that Teddy might even be rested one game. So if he goes back to that fullback, happy BCRC. So happy hold for me.
I don't know if they can afford to rest Teddy, can they? Considering the way they're going, I mean, they're really looking like missing the 8 at the moment, aren't they? They really need to start winning some more games.
Yeah, they're on the edge there. Just on that one with Manu, I'm with Billy. I wouldn't. If you got him, I don't own him. But if you got him, it doesn't make any sense to sell him before round 19. So for the next 2 rounds, at least you'd hold him because he's got that 130 sitting in his rolling average. Why would you sell him with that sitting rocking around in his average? You just wouldn't. So maybe 19 if you stretch for a number for your buy, but you wouldn't sell him before then.
But you wouldn't be trading him either, though, at the same time, right?
What's that?
You wouldn't be trading him in, though, would you?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Anyone else from the Raiders or the Roosters an interest, either of you guys at all?
Not really. Tappity was interested at the beginning of the season because I thought he was slightly undervalued but wasn't getting any minutes. He's getting minutes now, but the buy coverage interest is kind of gone. It's not like he scores greater than 75 of these, so absolute no. I'll tell you what, Tomoko has been a bit of a bust. He came out like a bat out of head as a tackle buster, and then all of a sudden, when a few people bought him, just went back in his shell, done nothing. So most of those Raiders are probably sells actually. Absolute opposite.
Yeah, we won't talk about Timoko, will we, Brad? Because someone jumped on him on our podcast, and let's just say he was an absolute flop. Yes, poor old Timmy. Timmy jumped on him, and he turned out to be an absolute flop.
Yeah, the minute he got him, good day to Timmy out there. I hope you're listening, mate. You will be listening later after he does his footy training. But he's
actually, I think I suggested it to him. I was $2,000 short.
Oh, what a shame it was to be, Billy. You would have been happy about that, I'm sure.
I've actually had a look at his figures this week, and there was a few things about him that sparked my interest, but if you were going to get him, you'd wait one more week till he really does bottom out. But he's got it in him, and they got not a bad run home to Canberra. So, he's not an urgent buy.
Have a go at this. Like, if you went to half the other clubs in the competition, look at the Roosters bench: Angus Crichton, Nathan Brown, Nat Butcher. You reckon they'd be the starting back row for any other club?
100%. Maybe not Nathan Brown, but the other two definitely.
Oh, when he's angry, mate, Brownie can rip a head off.
I'm sure he'll come good, but I wouldn't feed Angus at the moment. Have you been watching closely at his game? It's not really. He's nothing. He's a shadow of what he was before the barley mushrooms got him. He's a shadow. He's he's trying hard, but he's just his anticipation. He's just not quite there at the moment. So he's not hitting the holes like he used to. It's actually really disappointing. I feel for him because he's not. Because I know he can do a lot better. I know that he was a lot better player than that. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
You've been watching him, Billy?
I haven't really been watching, mate. Roosters are all a basket case at the moment, so he'd probably stand out in that mob. But yeah, I'll take your word for it, mate. I'd have to go back and have a look. But there's got to be a reason why a bloke like that is on the bench over Egan Butcher.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on then, and let's go to some Origin chat, boys. We'll go to the Queensland resident, Billy, first, and how about you want to give us a bit of a preview of the game and guess who's going to win, margin, try scorers, anything else you want to talk about on the game?
Mate, I went to a function last Wednesday, and what's his name? Joel Kane. Not Joel. Yeah, Joel Kane was there. And mate, loveliest bloke I've ever met in my life. We were talking of footy, talking stats, and one of the stats he came out with was apparently the left winger for the Maroons in the last 13 games at Origin has scored 11 out of 13 games. So interesting stat. I'm not sure what it's paying, but there's a number for you.
Right, is that Coates or Cobbo on that side? I wouldn't be Cobbo because Cobbo's out, isn't it? So is it Coates or?
Let's go and have a look at both, mate. Who's the other one? Hammer and Coates? Oh, no. Who is it?
Coates and who's the other one? Because Cobbo's out, so Coates is in for Cobbo, right?
If Coates is in for Cobbo played right side, so it'd be left. So whoever the other one is.
I can't even think of who it is.
We'll bring it up then.
Come on, Billy, you're the Queenslander. You should know this stuff.
I hate him, mate. I go to work on a Monday morning in January. Origin. I go to Christmas parties. They talk about Origin. I'm sick of talking about freaking Origin with Queenslanders.
It's Murray Talangi, okay? It's Murray Talangi's out, right?
Yeah, well, there you go. Whoever the left wing is on them. But the problem is, mate, that shits me about footy these days. That if you wear the 2 jersey or the 5 jersey or the 11 or the 12, you never know which side of the field they're going to play. There's no standards.
Yeah. So what's your prediction, Billy?
Oh, man, I think Queensland get us purely because Latrell's out. I don't like a slower Teddy. I don't like Latrell out. New halves in there for the first time. I hope Moses goes well, but mate, you got a Queensland pack and spine absolutely firing now away from home. Now they're at home. The team just looks a lot better than it has. The team on paper this year is almost similar to last year, but they've got experience now. They've got hunger, and those newer guys are showing what they can actually do. So I don't want to pick Queensland, but if I'm going to put my money down, mate, I wouldn't want to be back in New South Wales. That's for sure.
All right, Brad.
I can't do it. I cannot pick a bloody cane toad, not for the life of me. New South Wales by 14. I think probably because this is the first time. This is the first time that New South Wales have been underdog in something like 32 games of Origin. We're actually the underdogs for once in our life. So because we're the underdogs, we're going to come up there. We're going to snatch it away from Queensland and bring it back home here for the last game of the series. New South Wales by 14. Brian To'o to be the first try scorer and Brian To'o to be the last try scorer. They reckon they're going to put up an aerial assault on us. We'll give them an aerial assault. They'll have an aerial assault of tears raining down on the ground as they see New South Wales win this game.
Jesus Christ. You reckon Angus is on mushrooms?
Brad,
14 plus in Queensland, eh?
Brad, I love you as a bloke, and I do, and I love your optimism, but I can't see it happening. I just think that their side is far too strong on paper. I hate to say this, but I reckon Maroon's by about 8 points, and I'm going to say Xavier Coates for the first try in this one. It's is what I'm going to say. Obviously, there's been a couple of positional changes mentioned too. Your boys' thoughts on this? Apparently, they're talking about talks that Reece Robson's going to start hooker over Damien Cook. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Doesn't matter who. It's not one of them's quicker. Actually, Cookie's probably quicker off the bench.
Hey, look, it's not going to matter because New South Wales are going to win no matter who they put on that field, you know.
Jesus, Brad. Pick an anytime try scorer for both the hookers, 14 plus, but make sure you roll into that left winger to score at least one for the Maroons. Yeah. Give them a consolation prize.
And don't forget to dye your beard blue for the podcast on Thursday night too, Brad. After we win, all right.
Look, if we win, I will dye it blue. So there you go. If we win, I'll do it. It'll be blue. Look, I don't necessarily think we're going to win. All logic tells me that we can't. Right now, for that particular reason, I'm going to say we can. Right, it's got to be just once where we're the underdog, where we actually do prove them wrong. I mean, it's not often that we're the underdogs. Queensland are raging favourites here, so logic tells you to go back them. But just every now and again, sport does these wonderful things.
I just don't like the one kicking in general play option that we've got in this game again. I mean, you look at Queensland, they've got Munster, they've got DCE, you've got Ben Hunt. And then when Ben Hunt's on there, they can also have Harry Green on there at the same time. They've got kicking options galore, whereas we've just got Moses, and he is going to be peppered all night by these Queensland forwards who are just going to keep pressuring them all the time, and we do not have a backup. And that, for me, is a big concern for the team.
Luai can kick a few on the ruck.
Oh, if you want to call it that. I'll
tell you what, in honour of Brad, if New South Wales win this, I'll dye my beard grey and not my beard grey.
No. You've got to do it maroon. You've got to do it maroon.
Maroon?
Yeah.
All right. I'm half maroon now. I'm half ginger, half grey now. I might just have to pick one colour and stick with it.
Oh, look, mine was ginger grey when I was your age, so I get where you are. But look, come on, you know, it's New South Wales. What have we got that they don't have? We got passion. That's what we got. We got the cattle dog, man. We got the fucking cattle dog.
Mate, you're up to a battle talking about passion up here.
Maybe we need to get Andrew and Matt Johns together for a conversation about Origin, eh?
I remember talking to Joel about it, and he asked me what the outcome was, and I said, mate, they're insane up here. I said, I finally figured out when I moved up here many years ago. I was talking to my dad. I said, mate, you don't understand. Like, you go into a butcher and there's like jerseys and Wally signed jerseys. So there's posters everywhere, and this is like January. Yeah. So it's not that New South Wales lack passion. It's just that I understand it, mate. These guys here, the entire state, they're just fucking mental. That's the difference. They're mental.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, I did live in Queensland for a lot of years, so I do understand it, Billy.
Is that where you went grey?
And bald. Don't worry about it. Queensland does that to you, mate. It loses your hair the minute you get up there. Something happens like that. But no, it'll be a great match, I think. I personally don't like the New South Wales team, but Roscoe knows that. We've spoken about it. I don't like the selection. It is what it is. He must have a game plan, we hope. you know, I actually don't think there'll even be 5 tries in a match. That's how tight I think it'll be. I think it'll be very defence orientated, but
It's a
just
dry track
based
up
on
here.
that team.
It's a dry track up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this aerial assault's going to happen that they're talking about?
Oh,
Are
I
they gonna be-
haven't been reading anything. So, who's talking about aerial assault? Us or them?
Oh no, Queenslanders laying on a aerial assault against New South Wales, only because it's a massive mismatch in the wings.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the likes of, you know, you've got Coates or Xavier Oates and on one side, and then you got the Hammer, and you got Brian Toto. You got a 5'4" fella up against bloody 6'4".
Oh, mate. I don't think they need it. It's an option for them, but I don't think they need it. I remember us talking about the same thing when we had Tupu over whoever it was. Halfback. Oh, that was New South Wales, but you got a winger that's what 6'7", 6'8". You think we once tried to kick the ball up in the air to him? No, nah. We'll go right.
That wasn't in the game. That wasn't in the game plan.
No.
Well, just because you're nearly 7 foot tall doesn't mean you can catch a ball. Just ask Jason Saab. If anybody watched the game on the weekend, I know what I'm
don't
talking
worry, I
about.
saw the
Oh my
game.
god!
Oh my god!
It was a horror show. All right, that's my prediction. There you go.
All right.
14
Anything
plus.
else? Anything else, boys? Before we wrap it up for tonight.
No.
Not for,
Sorry, Billy. I'll quickly jump first, and then you go. But nothing from me. Good luck, everybody, and we'll talk again Thursday night. We'll see what's happening with the wash up from Origin.
nothing, mate. I think I might actually be heading down to the game on Sunday. I haven't seen a Broncos game for a while, but take the boys. I think they're the kids' school was playing the game before Villa, so take them down, watch their school boys play, and hopefully the kids enjoy a good game.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's all for tonight, Brad. Thanks as always for jumping on. Appreciate it.
No problem.
And Billy, it's good to have you on again. Thanks again for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Always good to talk footy, mate, even if it's a week later than anticipated. Sorry about that.
That's all good. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on Thursday night for another podcast. Till then, have a good week. See you later.